Welcome to our very, very first episode of the podcast, Another Look. At Faith Community Church, we're starting a new sermon series, and it's going to be kind of a long one, and it's called The Gospel Project. And the idea in The Gospel Project is just that we're going to go through the life of Christ chronologically, and we're going to kind of put it together in time order. We're not going to go through any specific gospel. We're going to take different things from different gospels and kind of try to fit them together chronologically. And man, I am really, really excited about just being able to spend time with Jesus. I don't know, there's something in me that just feels like maybe I need to just refocus on the reality of Jesus and who he is and what he's like. And maybe you feel the same way, that, you know, we go through life, we even go through church, and there are just so many things that we can focus on, and there are so many things that we can look at. And I'm just really, really excited by this opportunity to take really maybe quite a lot of time and just focus in on Jesus himself. I think it's going to be really great. And as part of that, every Wednesday, I'm going to be putting up a podcast that I'm calling Another Look. And so it's going to be on our YouTube channel at The Broken Podcast. It'll be on Faith Community Church Facebook page. It'll be on the Faith State Line Facebook page. I'll probably put it on my own personal Facebook page. So it's going to be several places for you to find it the way that you want to find it. But it's just going to be, I don't know, probably 5 or 10 minutes. I'm not going to make it long. And it's going to be taking another look at the passage that we looked at or the idea that we looked at. I really want to leave it kind of flexible so that we can do whatever God wants us to do. So sometimes maybe we'll take a different application point, or we'll take just a little point in the passage and kind of expand that a little further, or sometimes it might even be something that's just sort of really only sort of related to the passage at all, but something that we just feel really strongly that God is leading us to pick up. And so this is going to be every Wednesday. I'm going to try to get it up in the morning. I'm not trying to lock myself into a given time to get it up for sure, but every Wednesday morning this is going to go up. Be on Facebook at The Broken Podcast. It'll be, or rather on YouTube at The Broken Podcast. It'll be on Facebook, State Line page, Faith Community Church page, my page. So I hope you'll join us, and I hope you'll take this journey with us of looking at Jesus. And, you know, yesterday was a really hard day for me because I got up and I was getting ready for church, and I realized that it was my dad's birthday. And I don't know why, for some reason, it had just not been on my radar at all that was coming up. And I was doing something, and I was looking at dates, and I was kind of trying to figure out some dates, and I realized, oh my goodness, it's my dad's birthday. And he died several years ago. And, you know, it's interesting how I really miss him. And some days are worse than others. Some days I don't honestly think about it at all, but most days I do at least a little bit. And some days are really hard, and realizing that it was his birthday just hit me hard this year. There have been other years where it didn't hit me hard, and I know there will be years again where it does or it doesn't, but it did. And I just really love my dad, and we did a lot of things together that I really enjoy. And one of the things that I really enjoyed doing with Dad is he and I watched every single episode of the old series, The Outer Limits. Now, there is a place redoing some and doing some new episodes of The Outer Limits, but they're nowhere near as good. And we used to sit and we used to watch, you know, we used to watch through every single episode of The Outer Limits, and I just loved them. And in fact, I kind of goof around with comic books a little bit. I do a little bit of collecting, a little bit of buying and selling. And I was at a comic show, and I came across this guy, And I didn't even realize there was an Outer Limits comic book. But so I started collecting them. And so this is the very, very first Outer Limits comic book. It's from 1964. It's not particularly valuable. In fact, it's not valuable at all. But it's really cool to me because these Outer Limits comic books remind me of my dad. And so I kind of started collecting these. And one of the things that's really fun, Dad and I both loved the invasion stories. We both loved the stories where there was some kind of alien, whether it was from another planet or from another dimension or whatever it was. Some kind of alien was invading the world. And that was a lot of the Outer Limits episodes were kind of around that theme somehow. In fact, if you take a look at this very first comic book, you can see these giant bug kind of guys that are invading, and they have these claws that like shoot out a harmonic sonic frequency that destroys stuff. And so that's really cool too. But I really enjoyed getting these comic books, and it struck me how many of them are these kind of invasion stories. And I think as we get going into this whole thing of this gospel project where we're going to be looking at Jesus, I want you to keep that in the back of your mind, if you will, that idea of an invasion story. Because really, at its core, Jesus' life is an invasion story. It's God invading this creation who's kind of gone astray. Or we learn from John this week when we do the first message, it's the light invading the darkness. And it's really at its very core, it's this invasion story. And at the core of these stories are these questions of what are the aliens? You know, what are they like? What do they want? What is it about them that we're supposed to know? And if you and I can keep that at the forefront of the way that we think about this gospel project, where we're asking those kind of questions about who is Jesus? What's he like? What's he want? What does it mean to live in a relationship with him? It'll take us so far. You know, I've been doing quite a lot to prepare for this gospel project, and I've been reading a lot, and I've been thinking a lot about it. And, you know, something struck me as I've been going through the Gospels again. There are all sorts of reactions that people have to Jesus. Some people are perplexed. Some people are comforted. They're challenged. They're afraid. Some people are angry. But, you know, the one thing biblically that I never see is I never see somebody who's bored. I never see somebody who's bored. You know, and if we genuinely encounter Jesus, I think it's fair, I think it's safe to say that we'll never be bored. It may not always be easy. It may not always be comforting. Maybe it'll be challenging. Maybe it'll be encouraging. Maybe it'll be uplifting. Maybe it'll be one of those things where Jesus says, look, you've got to get a hold of this thing, or you've got to start this, or you've got to stop that. You know, I'm not saying that encounters with Jesus will always be easy, but I am saying that they won't be boring. And I think sometimes we think we know the story so well, and we've been through them so many times that it feels like, man, this might be a little boring. I promise you, this is not going to be boring. It's going to be awesome. I'm excited about the Gospel Project. I'm excited about this Another Look podcast. Feel free to contact me if there are things that you want to cover or you feel like we should be bringing up. Feel free to contact me. I can't tell you we're going to do them for sure, but I'm really excited about seeing what God has to say in the days and weeks ahead. So I hope you'll join me for Another Look every Wednesday. Majority of time it'll be me. Sometimes it's going to be Logan. Sometimes one of the other. Sometimes somebody else will be filling in for me. But I really hope you can join me on Wednesdays. Have a great day.